I used to have a joke with Patton, because he's called influential as well. And I would go, I'll take Nirvana and Soundgarden, and you can have Limp Bizkit and Korn. I'm Buzz from the Melvins.
And I'm Duane from Tomahawk, and you're watching Two for the Road on Consequence. Hi, Buzz. Been a while.
It's been a while. Where are you? Are you in Nashville?
I'm in Nashville, yeah. It's 100 degrees outside. Yeah.
I'm in Tucson. I think it's 103.
But it's dry.
It's a hot heat.
Yes, there you go.
It's very hot.
It's not humid.
And everywhere we go on this tour, it's going to be blazing hot.
I will be very surprised if we don't see some brownouts here and there.
Yeah, exactly. Right, just in time for the show.
I hope not. I hope I'm wrong. I want to be wrong. I don't know. We'll see. Let's. Maybe they've got it figured out. Maybe they'll have some windmills hooked up outside the venue or something.
Hot air machines, because there'll be plenty of that.
Starting now. I don't remember exactly the first time I heard the Melvins. I'm going to guess it was probably in the late 80s, before I was in the Jesus Lizard, and when I was still living in Austin, Texas. And I had roommates who were playing music and all this. And I remember in particular, there was one guy, I think around that time, late 80s, it was all about, man, all this stuff coming out of Seattle. And so he was all into Mudhoney and Soundgarden. And then he was talking about the Melvins too. And I do remember listening. I don't remember what album or song, but I thought, this is not like those other guys. There's something else going on here. I can't quite put my finger on it, but this is not like these other guys. It's not as accessible. It's perverse. It's darker, heavier, et cetera, but I liked it for all those reasons. And then a couple years later, I believe the first time I met you and Dale, didn't we all play a show together in Toronto with
Yeah, it was somewhere in
Helmet?
Canada.
With Helmet, all three bands, Helmet, Melvins, Jesus Lizard, in Toronto, and I think we all slept in the promoter's apartment after the show. All the bands, fully dressed, sitting up.
Sounds right.
Yeah, and I don't remember much about the show. I just remember just it being a long day trying to get through it. But I always liked there was a darkness and a sort of a perverse element, and the rhythmic structure. There was something very different going on there.
Yeah, I think that was the first time I saw you guys was at that show. I've heard about you guys, but I don't know when I ever heard you. But I mean, it was a fairly tight-knit group of people with no internet, so anytime anybody heard anything that was even semi-good, you'd hear about it. So it wasn't too many bands that I was interested in. And what I liked about you guys from the beginning was the relentlessness, and I really liked the fact that you appreciated bands like The Birthday Party and were heavy, but not in like a heavy metal way.
There we go.
It was hard. It's rock music, but it's all of our stuff, you guys included, it's rooted in punk rock, and without that, it doesn't happen. That's what we are, and always were, and always will be. Even though we get lumped into a lot of other things, it's like I'm not trying to be really anything outside of where I started, what I thought was the right thing to do when I started the band.
Yeah,
pretty much the exact same attitude I had then, which was my favorite bands at the time were bands like that were relentless, like the Dicks, both versions. I really liked them, and they were weird and had great songs, and that was what I was looking for. And I thought you guys were like that as well. There was a lot, quite a few bands like that. Like I said, The Birthday Party, and I really loved bands like the Gang of Four. And also, though, at the same time, I never stopped liking bands like Led Zeppelin and the Stones and the Gang of Four, and just never stopped. The Who, all those bands like that. I grew up on my own and without anybody helping me out as to what to like. So I never had anybody go, it's not cool to like this. So I just, I was like Van Halen and Black Flag,
Sure.
It's like, it's all good to me,
Yeah.
Frank Zappa and the Scorpions, it's like, I appreciated all of it. Outside of most fans weren't like that. Either like this or this. You didn't. And I never really understood that. I still don't. I still like all the music I liked when I was 12. I've never I ventured way beyond all that, but I never turned my back on Aerosmith and Ted Nugent and all this. It's the same stuff I liked when I was 12. I still appreciate it,
Sure.
and not long after that, I got into punk rock stuff, but solely because of stuff that was in magazines, and I would mail order the records, and it just went from there. And then I realized all these bands were playing places like Seattle. So like in the early '80s, once I got my own wheels and was able to drive, because I lived quite a distance from there, started going to those kinds of shows, and eventually started my own band by about '83, and just kind of went from there. I mean, but everybody in the Jesus Lizard came out of a punk rock background.
Sure.
You
Yeah,
know?
I grew up outside of Detroit. I grew up right in between Detroit and Ann Arbor. And so everybody who was anybody came through town and played, whether I could see Miles Davis one week and Kraftwerk the next, and I did. I could
Yeah.
see Ultravox one week and then go see, I don't know, Ozzy the next, which I didn't. But the punk rock culture was different. I thought it appealed on more levels.
Going on
Yeah.
tour is part of the deal. Part of the deal of being a working musician for me, you know. And
Yeah.
so, you go out and do it. But I've always been very careful about all that kind of stuff and how we did it, and made sure that we could make ends meet and make it make sense and all those kinds of things. And we're very careful about all those because we all want to be working musicians. That's all I ever wanted to do.
Right. Yeah, me too. Me too.
So I'm happy to do that work. I'm happy to brave all the things that I hate about touring, and not let it get to me. I just look at it like this is what I do, and I'm happy to do it. Happy that I get the opportunity to do this. And I've never taken it for granted or looked at it like, I just hate this. I can't fucking stand touring. It's like, well, what else am I going to do?
Right.
It's like, I don't have a plan B. I never did. I always figured, if this doesn't work, I can work the same kind of shitty jobs I always worked. Yeah, la-di-da. Oh, well.
I stepped off for a few
Yeah.
years. I was in my mid 50s, and it seemed like everything was slowing down for me. None of the people that I had worked with were working, and so I worked in a library for a few years. I did,
I remember
but
you
I
saying
didn't.
that.
Once again, it just came back around, and then I didn't stop playing music. I never stopped practicing. I never
Right.
stopped writing. I never stopped recording. I'd
Right.
use, like people do, vacation time, go play some shows,
Yeah.
and eventually I was able to retire from, and now it started up again. The Jesus Lizard put an album out, and I'm on tour
Right.
again. And now Tomahawk, I get to do this, and now I'm getting this victory lap.
Yeah, you get to hang out with us again. Oh, boy.
It's like a 30-year gap getting dumped
We
back
toured
in.
with you guys before, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe this time will be different. We'll see. I don't think I've toured with you guys since Trevor Dunn has been in the band. I don't think I've done any shows with you guys since he's been in the band. The last big show we did with you guys was in Sydney, Australia.
The Geek Tour, right?
I think that was it.
And it
yeah.
was Tomahawk Melvins Fantomas.
Yes, and I think I was the only one on the tour who was not drinking.
That would probably be true, yeah.
It was true. And I there's a lot of nights where I was like, I'm going back to the hotel. See you guys later.
All right, mayhem.
I'm out. I am out.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
just leave me alone. I'm good.
yeah. Well, there'll be a lot less of that now. Me and Trevor are the only guys who still drink,
Yeah.
and we're
Yeah,
very
but-
moderate.
But you guys, even then, you guys were were moderate. No
Yeah.
doubt about it. But I did a lot of tours where I was the only one who didn't drink. A lot of tours. And it's like, whatever. I mean, didn't make me want to drink, I'll tell you that. And I mean, you know what it's like. You've been on plenty of tours where people are out of control drinking, and you know exactly what that's all like. And drunks are only fun if you're drunk. So what I like
That's
to
true,
do is
yeah.
just, politely bow out and just. I'm totally fine watching a movie at the hotel and calling my wife and going to bed.
Yeah, that sounds great to me. That sounds heavenly.
Exactly.
As much as anything, it was Mike Patton being willing and able to do this again. He had kind of stepped off to kind of get it together, with personal things. And so he started doing this thing with the Avett Brothers again. And that was successful and doing really well. And he looked great and sounded great and all that. So then next thing I know, they're booking a tour. They're like, hey, do you want to play some shows over the summer? And this was really not that long ago. And like, okay, yeah, great. I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled to do it. We've gotten together. I've gotten together with both Mike and John Stanier separately already so far. And I've got a practice space that I share with some guys. So I leave my louder stuff there and I go there and play loud, several times a week. So I could, honestly, I could play a show tomorrow. I'm about ready. David Yao sees himself as a punk rock vocalist. Okay, he is not concerned with trying to be a great singer. He's not concerned with, displaying his professionalism and all that. He's told me there should be a deliberate sort of unhinged sort of recklessness about those type of vocalists, and he certainly has done that over the years. To be honest, there's been times when I wish he would have pulled it in a little more, but that's just part of the show. That's just how it is. The songs were kind of built in a way, if the vocals were a little bit in and out of time, in and out of tune, it didn't derail the song at all. Everything kind of marched along, regardless of what he did. Whereas with Patton, I mean, he is definitely a singer. He's one of the best, one of the tops of our era. I don't know how he sees himself, what antecedents he has, but he's so super knowledgeable about lots of different music, whether it's soundtrack or contemporary classical or the great crooners or as well as hard rock and things like that. I could write just about anything, and he would be able to figure out the intervals. He would be able to match notes. The way the Tomahawk typical songs are, those vocals are singing usually some sort of melodic line, and you can count on him showing up exactly where it's supposed to and being in tune in time and saying what he's supposed to. With David Yao, like I said, that wasn't there. Sometimes when you're waiting for the part to show up and it doesn't show up at all, and then you're looking for where is he and all that kind of stuff. So there's quite a difference, and if you listen to the bands, you would know that. But they're both, interesting guys, and I'm glad I got to do it. I've worked with a lot of interesting singers over the years, and I've always kind of thought of myself as an accompanist more than anything. I always tried to play guitar in a way that singers would like to work with, and that other musicians would want to work with. Not some guy who's just always playing solos, but some guy who comes up with interesting riffs, cool chord voicings, the kind of things that people would enjoy playing along with and that they would want to work on with. And I think that has always worked for me, and it still works.
I mean, anything's possible. What was funny was we would tour with Fantomas. People would say to me after the shows, so a lot of that stuff's improvised, right? Like, it couldn't be less improvised. It's like, no, there's absolutely no improvise. There's nothing improvised at all about it. So it's not like we can just go up there and jam it. Took a lot of rehearsals, and generally, I always felt that we were under rehearsed right up until about the last week of the tour, and then the tour would be over. Feel like we have it down now, and we're just about to quit. So I like rehearsing. I like people to be fully comfortable with everything when they walk on stage playing the music that we're doing. I want them to all know what's going on, and they do their own homework when they get there, but there's something about a band gelling that you can't get without playing together. It just doesn't happen. I mean, I don't know. I don't read music, so I just can't imagine, though, that sight reading something and playing it for 2 weeks every single night. I think there's going to be a difference, I think. Anyway,
yes.
So I would be really difficult for us to do. I guess we could pick out something. Dale did substitute one time when we did a tour in Australia. We just did the director's cut stuff though, which was a little easier. But they might be able to do that. But that hadn't even crossed my mind. It's more likely that Trevor will jam with us on a song at the end of our set than us doing a Fantomas thing. Maybe. I mean, anything's. I mean, you never know. I mean. But I wouldn't say no to it.
It's okay. I feel like it's kind of the natural order of things. Like when we were coming up, there were bands that were fairly obscure. For instance, that I like. I'll just name a couple of English bands. Let's say the group Magazine or the group Killing Joke, who actually got fairly prominent, or I don't want to say Bauhaus or say birthday party, whatever. We kind of built on it from there. You kind of build on it from there. I'm glad that I inspired them to go out and do something, but I don't think they sound anything like anything I've done. I can't hear it in the music. You know what I mean? So on the one hand, I appreciate it, but I don't always get it. It's fine. You know, people influence us, and then we take it to another thing, and then they go somewhere with it. So it's fine. I don't know. I don't. I mean, I've seen there was a kind of a poppy sort of underground band from England called the Foals, and I saw them festival we were playing or TV, and the guy had a Travis Beam through a high watt, which was, you know, what I had years and years and years ago. And they didn't sound anything like us. And then I would see that combination again. There was, what was they, Six Finger Satellite, bands like that playing. Sometimes I think the gear, people are influenced more by the gear than the music. I think that the word influence is misused. I think maybe we inspire them to play, but I don't think we influence their music. I think that, you know, people, they tend to name drop when they use the word influence, and they say, oh, I'm influenced by Stockhausen and Miles Davis, and then you go to their house and it's all Martha Hoople and, you know, Bob Seger or whatever. I think influence is maybe the guy at the record store when you were a kid who said, hey, listen to this. Or the guy's house you'd go over when you were, who always, this guy who was, gee, he worked at the gas station, but he always had the latest records for some reason, and you'd hear stuff that you wouldn't have heard if you hadn't gone to his house. Those are the people that are, to me, truly influence you. Or maybe you took a lesson at the local guitar shop and you look on the floor and there's the Eric Clapton with the Blues Breakers album. And he goes, you should listen to that. It's better than Cream. And then you listen to, oh, okay. So to me, those are people who are truly influential.
I used to have a joke with Patton, because he's called influential as well. And I would go, I'll take Nirvana and Soundgarden, and you can have Limp Bizkit and Korn. He's like, fuck you.
There you go.
That was always funny. But I mean, the whole new metal thing, to me, it all sounded like Helmet, ultimately. Just all sounded like Helmet. It's just like,
there you go.
That's what I thought. Anyway, the first thing I always want to say when somebody says that is, don't blame me. I didn't make you make this music. You know?
You had plenty of other choices.
Yeah, plenty of other. Yeah, this is the seeds of what I've sown, and it's far worse than what I could have ever imagined. You know? But, you know, you can't help that kind of stuff. It's whatever. I mean, I'm glad. I guess you could call it, you know, happy accidents. I'm certainly not thinking of that when I'm writing music. This is gonna be so influential. I don't think about that at all. But I think about all the stuff that influenced me. Sure, I can name 1,000 bands that I've taken something from or got inspired by.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, music it's an art form, and it's the one that's moved me the most. Certainly, still does. As much as I love art, nothing hits me like music does. You know. Ever.
I've always thought the first band, it was probably a group of cave people sitting around a fire. And one guy just started beating on a log. The other guy, they were eating a dead antelope or something, and they pulled the guts out, and he started hitting like a string, because those were the first strings, weren't they? And then maybe a woman started imitating a bird, going doodle-doo, doodle-doo, doodle, while the other guy's going bang, 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 and the other guy's going thump, 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 thump. Then eventually words started showing up. And then the guy, we went to the other guy's village, we killed all the men and stole their women, oh! And that was the first song. And I think it's more the same since then. Nothing's changed.
If I was some huge band that had all the money in the world that I could ever want, I would only play places that I would want to go to see a show. And I don't want to go to an arena. I just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with any aspect of it unless I'm going to a sporting event, which I don't do very often. It's not for me. I just go back to the punk rock thing. It's like, I'd rather be, you know, I mean, I think the ultimate venue is probably like a 1,500 to 2,000 capacity theater. It's probably about as big as I would want to go. Usually they sound really good.
And that's what we're doing.
No bad seats in the house. I would love to go to see a show. I've seen lots of shows in places like that, you know. I think who was some of my favorite shows like that? I think I saw Peter Gabriel on his first tour by himself. It was really fucking good in like a 2,000 capacity place. It was really fucking good. And lots of shows like that, you know.
For me, Nothing with the Jesus Lizard. Well, with Tomahawk, a lot of the stuff we're going to play on this tour is from an album that came out about 5 years ago called Tonic Immobility, and we never played any of that live. So it's almost like we've got a new album, at least from our standpoint. It kind of feels like that because we're going to be every time we play these songs in these cities, we've never played it there. So that's kind of fresh and kind of exciting. I've got a local group that I put together a couple months ago called the D2 Archipelago, and it's just a three-piece, me, Matt Swanson from Lamb Chop, Brian Kotzer from Silver Jews, and other Bobby Bear, other people. And it's just a three-piece instrumental, kind of noir, jazzy, but not jazz. We've played a couple shows. We opened for Kid Congo and opened for Echo and the Bunnymen, and it's very enjoyable and it's kind of challenging and fun.
We have I have a new project, but we're going to announce soon, but I'm not saying anything about it at the moment. And but the Melvins will be doing a new record this year for sure. We just had one that came out in April, so but we usually do some kind of recorded project or variety of things every single year. So I always have. I mean, to me, it's like writing and recording is part of the deal, and it's what I do. And then doing live shows is part of the deal too. I just have never stopped. We never really quit doing what we were doing. We just kept soldiering through it. I figured if you make it interesting enough, then you're not putting out the same album every single time, then I think it can continue working.